Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Michal Chaver. We have was beautiful, Baruch Hashem. We have a lot to catch up, so I don't know if we can add an extra session, maybe Sunday, I don't know, just to finish Pata Baba Kislin. Let's see how it's going tonight. It's going to be a fascinating topic. Just a little chizuk first. Sefer HaManhig writes about Avraham ben Natan from France, from Lunel. No, I think it's France, Lunel. He lived in 1155 to 1215. So he talks about an Ashkenazi custom, and apparently it's also a Moroccan custom, that during the months of a year, the months of Elul, we blow the shofar from Rosh Chodesh Elul.
Yeah.
He quotes Pirkei Rabbi Eliezer, huh?
Everywhere.
No.
In Morocco, France, Morocco, French.
The same as the Selitor, I was saying to Rabbi, it's 1 hour, not 10 minutes. 1 hour.
Okay, so anyway,
we discussed about the shofar.
okay, so let's continue. Pirkei Rabbi Eliezer. Okay, what's the idea of the minhag? Pirkei Rabbi Eliezer. Yeah, he quotes the Pirkei Rabbi Eliezer who said that Moshe Rabbeinu went up to Har Sinai for the second time. He went to get the second Luchot. He went up on Rosh Chodesh Elul after Chet HaEgel, and the shofar was blown to remind the Jewish people not to sin. Don't do the same mistake as last time. So they blew the shofar when Moshe Rabbeinu went up to Har Sinai second time. And the Torah says this is a reminder to repent. That's how we blow during the whole month of Elul, not just Rosh Chodesh. Rosh Chodesh is because Moshe Rabbeinu, there was an announcement to the people, Moshe Rabbeinu is going up, don't sin, but we keep going the whole month of Elul as a reminder to the Teshuvah. Okay, so it's the idea is to remind us, this is a month, and that's the idea of Selichot as well. That's the idea that we can change. Yeah, we get accustomed to do certain things, like speaking or listening to Lashon Hara, talking in Bet HaKnesset, and this becomes a normal. And Elul suddenly comes back to remind us, not what everything we do is normal. That said, we can do changes. And Hashem, that's the month for Hashem. Amelech Basadeh, Hashem is here. Hashem is down here. He's closer to us. We don't realize. We think Elul is like any other month of the year. It's just August, but it's not. As the Sifrei Chasidim say, Amelech Basadeh, the king is in a field. He's come down and he's waiting for us to join him. So this is really the message that whatever we do, when we learn in Seuda, for example, and during the whole life we've been doing certain things, washing in a certain way, and then we realize it was wrong, and eating certain way, eating certain quantities, yes, mezonot, amotzi, these certain things. And when we start learning, we realize that maybe we did something wrong, and that's why when any person who commits to join Smichat Chaver program, it shows that he's not happy the way things are, and there's always room to do things better. Okay, so that's the idea. Kol hakavod anyway for all of us, including Mr. Belilo, who joins Smichat Chaver, because that shows that we want to learn. We want to see what we've done, which wasn't correct. How we could do better. Now, the idea of the shofar, it's very interesting. When we blow the shofar, Tkiya, Shvarim, Torah, Tkiya, these are learned from the Gemara, from the Pasuk. It's learned from the Torah. But the Hasidic Sfarim, Hasidic masters, they write, there's a deeper, the idea in a kolot, it's got a beautiful, very nice meaning. Tkiya is, the wholesome sound, the perfect sound. This represents when a soul and the neshama comes down to this world, it was perfect. Perfect. The baby comes in with a pure neshama, all perfect. The trouble is that throughout life, we sometimes, we make mistake and it becomes broken, and that's the shvarim, it becomes fragmented. That's shvarim, and sometimes a person has messed up so much that his soul is shattered into small pieces. It's all over the place. And a person thinks to himself, I'm useless, there's nothing I can do. But you know what? At this point, we can be mityash. And Hashem says, no, Tikiyah. You can always put everything back together and to perfect yourself again into a perfect, wholesome sound of Tekiyah. There's always an opportunity, an option to become better. And this is what the message of the month of Elul, what we have to work on. We have to work to, if you messed up all year, this is a time to perfect ourselves. Actually, I heard a beautiful mashal, for people who drive on motorways, the two types of toll roads. Yeah, you've got the toll road, which is you have to use Waze, by the way. Waze is the best app because they tell you when there's a camera, so you know when to slow down. Mm-hmm. Okay. Otherwise, if you don't use Waze, then you can get a fine. I drove all the way to France 1 year, and I got 2 fines all the way to France. One on the way to San Roque, on that hill that goes up.
Wow.
And I drove all the way to France and I got second fine on the way back. You know?
Same place.
Okay, same place, yeah. So yeah, so it's very convenient to use Waze. Now there's another kind of camera, which is that they check on you. It's like an average speed. Yeah, so they check the. Yeah, so take a.
Yeah.
You there? I'm not sure.
Yeah. We have an average speed.
Okay, so this is. So what happened? So you go. So you go there, and yeah, you go in, you go out. So what happened if you speeding too much at the beginning? There's a solution. Just slow down at the end, you know. Or if you know there's a lot of traffic when you came into the thingy, then you know that it says 120 maximum, but you've been going 50 because of the queue. And then at the end, towards the end, it speeds up. You can go 150. It doesn't matter because you already got your time allocated. So that's the way it works with his average speed thingy. So I heard a beautiful mashal, you know. You say, Hashem look at you from beginning of the year till the end of the year. It's like when you enter the speed zone and you end the speed zone. What if you're going too fast at the beginning of the year? No problem, just slow down at the end and you can sort it all out. You know what I mean? You've just accumulated too many kilometers, you know, too much, you messed up too much. At the end of the year, you can slow down and fix the whole thing and you come out. What? No, that's why it doesn't work. No. All right, that's the thing. So that's the idea of the shofar. I'll tell you just one little story. Just one little story that happened recently. Last year in Warsaw, they found a remnant of a bunker in Mila 18 Strasse Street, whatever you call it there. And that's where the uprising of Warsaw began. They found this bunker and they started digging into that and they found a pair of tefillin and a few other Jewish artifacts in that bunker. Last year, yeah. So what they did, they took 5 bricks from that bunker. And last Tisha B'Av, last year, 5 Holocaust survivors placed those bricks in Bet HaKnesset in Monsey, the Baal Shem Tov synagogue in Monsey. The same stones that saw the children starved, murdered, and all that, are now sitting in the Bet HaKnesset, and you see children saying, Amen Shme Rabbah, the kids, you know, singing and dancing and being happy. So this is the story of the Jewish people. Even when we fall, we get back up again. There's no stop. The same thing that, you know, the same ourselves who witnessed bad things. We can just, Of Joy Newcomb song, you fall down, we get back up. So this is true as a nation, both as an individual. It's true physically, spiritually. We can always, person can be drenched in Avera, but then afterwards we come to Smichat Chaver and we start learning, you know, how to do Netilat Yadayim and how to do all these things that we need to know. So today we're going to start on analyzing a very interesting halakha, which is like this. I'll ask you a few questions, and then we'll see how we can answer these questions. So it goes like this. I'll tell you a moment. I'm going to get there. Here it is. First question. Here we're talking about halachot of bread. Today, the discussion of the bread is if you transform the bread in all different ways, when does it lose its Shem Lechem, its status of bread, and all that. So, guess we'll go to here. First question. Your friend is not feeling well, so you buy him chicken soup with matzah balls, kneidlach. So he's very happy, and he says, do I need to wash hamotzi for the matzah balls? It's bread or matzah. If it's Sephardi, maybe not, but if it's Pesach, yeah, and you eat gebrocht, whatever. So, or if it's made from bread, or if Ashkenaz even made from matzah, do you have to wash? No, I'm talking about I want to know these matzah balls. If you say hamotzi on matzah, so it's Pesach, or if you're Ashkenazi all year round, do you say hamotzi on these matzah balls or not?
No.
Why not?
Because it was never bread.
It was proper bread. It was, if you eat matzah meal like this, if you take matzah meal, you eat like this. What's bracha?
Yeah, but it was never bread.
Yeah, you take matzah meal, you take matzah flour, you eat like this. You say hamotzi or mezonot?
We say mezonot.
No, I'm saying on Pesach. On Pesach you take matzah meal. On matzah meal, on matzah flour, matzah meal. Matzah meal.
I think Shako is because it's ground.
Okay, if you eat crumbs, okay, ask you a question. Let's forget about matzah meal. You eat crumbs of bread on the table. You've got some crumbs.
But that was bread.
Answer this question, but let's go to basics. Back to basics. You've got crumbs on the table. We call it matzah meal, okay? Matzah flour, what do you call it? I want to ask you a question. You've got crumbs on the table. You're not eating. They finish the meal. You love crumbs. You don't take one crumb and you eat it. What bracha is for a crumb? Amotzi lechem la'is. They don't do it at Yadayim, no birkat hamazon, but just amotzi. You eat a crumb, amotzi. You don't eat a kazait, you have to wash your hand. So same thing with matzah, and it's Pesach, or Ashkenazi all year round. You say hamotzi for matzah. So if you crush it, it's still hamotzi. So I'm asking you a question. You're taking hamotzi matzah meal, and you make a matzah ball out of it. So you see, when you cook bread,
Is it wet?
so cooking bread makes it makes him as a not?
You change
Okay, so we'll have to see, we'll have to define it. So the few, so matzah, so okay, so you say that's for sure you transformed it, you cooked it, it's for sure lost its status of bread. So let's downgrade a little bit. What bracha do you make on matzah brai? You know matzah brai?
1 second, can I just watch the time?
Delicious.
With the matzah meal, it's
Yeah.
basically like matzah flour.
It's not flour, it's matzah that they crush.
No, I understand
It's
that.
matzah crumbs.
I don't mean that, but it's more than crumbs. Breadcrumbs is
Doesn't make a difference.
You sure?
Yeah.
Because I was gonna try to make a comparison that on Pringles, if I understand correctly, is potato flour.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but with bread it doesn't look like this. If you take bread,
Yeah, but it's dehydrated. It's been made into powder.
Yeah.
I think bread, even if you make it into powder, is mezonot. Amotzi.
I was at the matzah is being made into a powder. You think it's?
I think even for bread, you take bread, you make it into powder, I think it's still amotzi. I don't think it loses its state, even if it doesn't look like bread. We'll see. We're going to learn the Shulchan Aruch inside. You'll see. Okay, so you say the matzah balls, the knei lach, whatever you call it, are for sure amotzi, mezonot, because it's changed the whole thing of bread. It's cooked, it's ground. It's...
Because there's no way you're going to say hamotzi on it. That's the answer.
Okay, fine. So I'll ask a question. What about matzah brai? So matzah brai is basically you break pieces of matzah, you add egg, and you fry it in a pan, whatever. On Pesach, many people do that.
That looks like
Mezonot or amotzi?
that. Looks like it's
Depends on the
There's
size of this milk outside.
All right. So you'll have lots of surprises today with matzah brai. Okay, so but you agree to me the matzah brai is more of a matzah than the matzah balls. Okay, the difference is that you cut it to small pieces. So Mordechai says depends if it's piece of kazait or not. We'll see if it's true. When he says it's true, let's see if it applies to matzah brai. And
What are pieces?
each brace you break it into pieces which are less than kazait. Therefore, it becomes mezonot na'amotzi. We'll have to see if it's true. It's true. He says the question if it applies to matzah brai as well. Okay. Now, next one, challah. Anybody know that's challah? Okay, that's the best invention of a century. What do you do with matzah with challah after Shabbat?
You make it dessert.
There are lots of things you can do with challah. One of the things you can do, and the best challah kugel I've had is in Gibraltar. When I came to Gibraltar many years ago, Yael Cohen used to send us once in a while matzah challah kugel. Okay, she was very good at this, even better, than what I've eaten before. So challah kugel. So the question is, what bracha do you make on challah kugel? So challah kugel, for your information, it's you take the bread. You'll see. I'll show you a video later. You soak it in water, and you mix it with eggs and all different things, and you make a kugel out of it, and you bake it in the oven.
No bread pudding.
It's a bread tortilla. Yeah, call it bread tortilla.
Yeah, but they glow, so they.
It becomes a mush because you soak it with water. It becomes a mush. Then you mix it with eggs and oil and sugar, whatever you want to do it.
Bread pudding is even worse because you can see the consistency of.
That's like bread pudding in a way. Maybe that's bread pudding. I'm not sure.
You don't taste it.
No, because it becomes fluffy.
Because then you taste more.
Aha.
And it's
But he's saying it's bread, more or less. I think he's gonna.
Okay.
Yes and
All right. We shall see. We shall see. Okay. Next question. Oh, that's a good one. You're making schnitzel. Okay. And your son tells you, Abba, how do you make schnitzel? Breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs? It's amotzi. Real breadcrumbs.
Or maybe mezonot.
So what do you tell him? You're a bit stuck because if you eat breadcrumbs, it's amotzi. So what happens if the breadcrumbs are stuck to your schnitzel? Why does it change? Or does it change? You make a different interpretation. Depends how many.
Not the bread. It's really crunchy. It's really crunchy. It's really crunchy.
You're not having breadcrumbs with sugar.
You're having the chicken coated in different coat.
You don't have a stuffed bread.
Okay, you're very good.
It's really crunchy.
Okay, another discussion. We'll see. All these things will be explained today with Hashem. When you learn from the Yesod, from the foundation, you'll see if we're able to very much easier to find application to each case. But each one is a totally different Yesod. So now we have something else now. At dinner, you make salad and then you put croutons. You know the crouton salad? So you throw these croutons into the salad. They're the square one, not the yellow ones. The big ones called salad croutons. This much bread cut into small pieces. You tell me bread crumbs is amotzi. This is amotzi. So your son tells you 1 second. You told me schnitzel is mezonot because I don't know you fried it, but this is pieces of bread in my salad.
Right. You know, Seuda, these little crumbs of bread.
So what? If it's bread, if you're the bread crumb, you say amotzi, even if it's not it's kover seuda. So what's the difference?
Exactly the same argument.
Yeah, like you say, you're not going to say how much. You're not going to
Okay, there's a new snack. There's a new snack out there. I don't know if you've eaten it. It's very good. It's called pita chips. You ever tried pita chips? It's really bueno. So pita chip is basically pita. So they took it and they just fried and they made chips out of pita, baked, forever, baked, fried, and become crunchy. What is it, crunchy in Italian? Crunchy. Okay, so what do you say? Amotzi or not? I don't understand. Zionist? I don't understand. When you make toast, it becomes not because it's crunchy.
No, well,
Is it toast? Is it toast or pizza?
Which is one of the things that is crunchy.
Ah, good question. So why is toast amotzi?
So we say that.
Huh?
The first time it's done. This is just
Very good. Well done.
That was made.
when you make crackers, they're never bread. They're straight away.
These were made straight into pita chips,
They
right?
made- No, pita chips. How do you make
No,
pita
it was pita.
No,
No, but maybe not. Maybe they're manufactured.
No, he's mechalek between pata barbecue, something which is made to be crunchy, like biscuits, whatever, crackers, it's mezonot, to toast, which was bread which you
Bread,
toasted,
yeah.
which doesn't change it. So I'm asking the pita toast is pita, which is toasted.
No, I think possibly these pre-made packets.
Yeah.
That's how they make them.
Okay. So I googled it. I actually researched it. No,
Googled it.
I googled it. Yeah, there's actually Google. You know, there's Google kosher instead of Google, call it Google. It's kosher. Well, yeah, kosher search engine. Okay, but anyway,
What do you think of Google?
okay. So
Better.
there's a contradiction. There's a contradiction in websites. How do you make pita chips? Yeah,
It's called the
is it specially made to make pita chips, or they take pitas and make chips out of it?
No.
So it's two things. I don't want to tell you.
That's enough.
They both talk about the factory, so I don't know. Okay, if it makes enough come in, I don't know. All right, so these are the questions, and I think now it's time to delve into the halacha properly. So I'll tell you which page in a moment.
I think it's before.
Okay, there's another topic which I don't know if we get tonight. We'll see. It's late already. So okay, we'll cover this. There's another very interesting topic. Do you make a bracha for dessert? That's a big discussion.
Depends. Ideally, you should say because
Whatever, there's lots of issues there. So that's going to be another topic. I don't think it's not tonight. So, okay. So the topic tonight is if you change the status of the bread. All right. So the question is, if you can lower the state of bread to become pata babekisnin or tafshil mezonot. To remind you, what's the difference pata babekisnin or tafshil mezonot? Pata babekisnin is real bread. It's got all the things of bread, but it's just used as a snack. Why? Because either we give different definitions, either it's crunchy or it's filled with fruits or it's sweet. Yeah, so it's changed. So it's bread which made sweet. So it becomes like a cake. And then if you eat it as cake, it's mezonot. If you eat it as a meal, as a bread, it becomes amotzi. What defines if it's eaten as a cake or the bread? Depends on how much you eat. If you eat big quantities, the mezonot becomes amotzi. That's why we say you have to be careful. If you eat this brioche, you eat too much of it, it becomes amotzi, etc.
It's also your
Yeah.
action.
It's pasta.
I was in France. I was in France at the Goishe bakery. We're making baguette for the week, and for Shabbat they made halot. Halot in a Goishe bakery. Halot. So I asked them, halot, what is it? It's just baguette in a knot. What is it? He says, no. It's a brioche. Thank you. Whatever.
But it's not.
I don't know. They called it brioche. I don't know. I didn't taste it. No, my wife made all halot, but it's very nice.
You make it sweet?
I don't know. I didn't
Did
taste
you
it.
taste it?
I didn't.
Well,
Yeah. All right, Metagosha Bakery. It's a normal local mountain bakery.
You can have baguette in France.
Of course, depends where.
Yeah.
I mean, where we were, you have the two factors. You have to check the ingredients. Generally, it's okay just to have to make sure. But also, sometimes if they bake it in the same oven as non-kosher stuff, they have to inquire. We don't buy any kind of baguette.
Last year to switch on the oven.
And we switch on the oven to make it Pat Israel. That's another thing.
We had it made once,
Mm-hmm.
and the father of the bakery in Spain, and we were speaking about it. So he said, yeah, some of the bread it doesn't have additions but then once Messiah had a bit too much. He was just speaking. I think he was coming up to the communion with one of the brother. It was a pig, and they baked the pig there. Yeah, of course. So my wife said, but when do you cook it so big in the house? We don't do it in the house. We do it in the bakery.
Wow. Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go, Rabbi. There's a lot to learn here. So pay attention. Okay, Rabbi, so pay attention to the detail here because it's going to be very important to understand. So you want, so the question is if you change bread into pata b'kisnim, that's one level. The other level is tafshil mezonot. Tafshil mezonot is really not bread anymore. It's a tafshil, it's a dish. And they can eat as much as you want, like pasta. You can eat kilos of it, and you're still going to be mezonot ana lemichya. You can't. It's not. It's dafka bread. Dafka pata b'kisnim can change from cake to bread. But if it's never bread, then it's never. It's going to say it's going to remain mezonot. Okay. So the question is, can bread be transformed into pata b'kisnim or into tafshil mezonot, which makes a big dafka mina. So as an introduction, let's first mention Shulchan Aruch Seif Tet, which based on the Rashba, is if you have Misham Shabbat in the middle here, it could be useful. Mishabura Seif Tet, that's just an introduction. Equal Seif Tet, Kuf Samechet. We're learning Kuf Samechet now. And in Seif Tet, that's just a little introduction, just to confirm what we said in the introduction, that Pat Gamur, we've got proper bread. Afilu Pachot Mikazait, Mevarech Alav Hamotzi. Yeah, so for example, even breadcrumbs, you say Hamotzi. Aval Acharav, Eno Mevarech Klum. Afterwards, you don't make anything, no bracha acharona at all. Kol shloach al pat, because kol shloach al kazait. If you did not eat a kazait, there's no bracha acharona. There's only bracha rishona of hamotzi.
Wash?
No, you don't wash either.
Sorry, Mona.
Seif Tet. Kuf samechet Seif Tet. Kuf samechet Seif Tet. Yeah, so Pat Gamur, we said even it's just a short halacha. That's not the main one we're focusing, but just to make it clear, the bread is still in its bread form because they haven't changed it. It's just cut it very small, but it's still a bread form. The bracha is always going to be hamotzi. Now we'll discuss what happens if the bread was transformed. Then it depends on the transformation. So the Gemara Brachot, if you have your booklet with you, it's going to be note 26. Okay, so note 26. There's a little Gemara in Brachot. Actually, it's very important Gemara. That's the introduction to this whole siman here, this whole topic of tonight. So let's read it together. So the first halacha says over there, akoseset achita. If you eat wheat, yeah, eat wheat as it is. Yeah, but koses is when you eat something not raw, like not haven't prepared it, just as it is. You say borei pri adama. But tachana, if you grind the wheat, if you made it into flour, afar you bake it, and after you bake it, bishla, you cook it. So basically, to simplify, you take bread, you cook your bread. After you bake your bread, you cook it in water. Bizman shaprusot kayamot. When the slices, the pieces are still complete, then does not the fact they cook it, it does not change the halacha. Bitchila vecha motzi lechem min haaretz ulvasov vecha lem gemel brachot bekat hamazon. But im en aprusot kayamot, if the bread is not kayam anymore, it's dissolved, whatever, then it changes to mevarech alav mezonot ulvasov vecha alav bracha achat me'en shalosh. Okay, so it's quite clear. So Rashi points out, brusot kayamot means shelo nimochu. If it did not dissolve, it's hamotzi. If it dissolved, it's mezonot.
You can identify the piece.
Okay, we'll have to define it exactly. The next, we'll see later. That's first. Let's take the Gemara. What the Gemara says. So again, the yesod of this Gemara is: if you take bread and you cook it, If it's not dissolved, it's המוציא. אין ברכת המזון. Next הלכה, אמר רב יוסף, היי חביצה. So what is this חביצה? חביצה, דאית לפירורים כזית. You've got a חביצה, but it's got pieces which are כזית. בתחילה מברך עליו המוציא לחם מן הארץ. The first ברכה is המוציא, ולבסוף מברך עליו 3 ברכות. That's what Mordechai was telling us before. The pieces are כזית, it stays המוציא. But the let לפירורים כזית, if it's not, the pieces are not כזית, then בתחילה מברך עליו בורא מיני מזונות. The first ברכה is going to be מזונות, ולבסוף ברכה אחת מאת 3. So this is different to the previous one. The previous one did not say anything about kazait, no kazait, just says dissolved, not dissolved. Here, he tells us, chavitza, what's chavitza? So you go on a side, it's a quote from Tosafot, and he defines what is chavitza. So he says, pirurim הנדבקים יחד על ידי מרק או על ידי חלב, או חלב, ממש what it is. But you take, you mix them together, that's right. So basically, you didn't cook it. You took pieces of bread and you stuck them with honey, with milk, with whatever. So you took bread and you glued it to each other. Then it's, if the pieces are big, if you've got one piece even, which is kazait, then the whole thing becomes amotzi. But if the pieces are less than kazait and you stack,
that's only if you מבשל.
So
it's not מבשל here. It doesn't say מבשל. It says נדבקים על ידי מרק.
Then even smaller pieces still stay.
No, the Gemara says המוציא, כזית המוציא, less כזית is מזונות. The Gemara is מחלק בין כזית and less כזית. If you take crumbs and you glue them together with honey or I don't know what, it becomes mezonot.
It still looks like lechem.
So we'll see. Okay, you're right. You have to explain. We have to explain what it is. And then we see how the Shulchan Aruch brings this halacha in למעשה. And the third paragraph here is Rav Sheshet. חביצה. אגב, the lead בפירורים כזית, חביצה, even less than כזית, יישא המוציא לחם מן הארץ. So the same חביצה which before we differentiated between כזית and not כזית, suddenly tells us even כזית is מזונות. It's המוציא, I mean. Even less than כזית, it's המוציא. What's the difference? אמר רבא, oh, maybe it's different opinions, or maybe it's, okay, maybe it's different opinions, maybe it's different case, we'll see. So אמר רבא, who is the מחלוקת? Amar Rabba, so he says, and here comes Rabbi and says, which Rabbi Yosef Kasais was saying, it's only, even if it's less than kazait, but if it looks like bread, then it's still amotzi, even less than kazait. Okay, so let's put this into practical terms. All these are yesodot from the Gemara, just to see from the Gemara, but then let's put it into practical terms. So again, let me just summarize the Gemara. So the Gemara says like this: if you eat bread which was baked and cooked and then cooked, normal bread, and you cook it, you still say hamotzi and birkat hamazon. But as long as you've got the slices, the pieces. But if it does not have the slices anymore, yeah, it's dissolved, then you say hamazonot and ala michya. Then the Gemara says chavitza, which are pieces which are kazait, you say hamotzi and birkat hamazon. That's not explained. What is chavitza? It's bread which is joined with soup, with honey, whatever that stick together. It doesn't say cooked. It doesn't say cooked.
What is friend?
You still, we'll see an example. I'll tell you examples. And then Igmar concludes that even chavitza, which is less than kazait, if it's got toar lechem, if it's got the appearance of bread, even if it's less than kazait, you say amotzi birkat hamazon. So Shulchan Aruch, let's read this halacha in Shulchan Aruch Seif Yod. So they defines those 3 cases. Chavitza. So says Shulchan Aruch, I read the Shulchan Aruch with you Seif Yod, because Samechet Seif Yod. What's chavitza? Pirure lechem shenidbakim yachad al yedei marak. You've got here 2 mishaboras in the middle if anybody wants. It's pirure lechem shenidbakim yachad al yedei marak. So it's crumbs which are stuck with soup or something. You stick it with something, with some gravy, with some honey, whatever. So im nidbashel. Oh, now it comes making chilukim. If it's cooked, im yesh behem kazait, if it's pieces of kazait, even if it doesn't look like bread, it's amotzi and birkat hamazon. Ve'im en behem kazait, if you don't have a kazait, af al pi sheyesh behem torah lechem, if it looks like bread, you only say mezonot and ala michya. That's if you cook it. So again, cooking is the first case of the Gemara. If you cook it, okay. So it joins the first case of the Gemara. If you cook it, if it's still pieces, it's amotzi, and if it dissolves, and the way it defines dissolve, if it's less than kazait, then you say mezonot and ala michya. But if it's not cooked, that's the second case of the Gemara. הוא מחובר לדבש או מרק, it's just stuck together with honey or soup. If it's kazait, it's המוציא, even if it doesn't look like bread, and if it doesn't have a kazait, then depends if it looks like bread or not. אם יש בהם תואר לחם, דיינו שהוא ניכר וידוע שהוא לחם, if you can tell that it's bread, you say המוציא ברכת המזון. If it doesn't look like bread, you say בורא מן המזונות, הנהלה מחיה. I'll explain it in more practical terms, just want you to see it inside and I'll summarize. And the third case, he says, if it's לא מבושל ולא מפורר, לא מחובר, אלא מפורר דק, if it's just crumbs, which is not stuck, not cooked, even less than kazait, and even if it does not look like bread, as I said before, if you take bread, you make powder out of it. It doesn't look like bread anymore. Matzah meal of bread. It's המוציא and ברכת המזון. Okay? Okay, so let me just... Okay, I'm going to repeat. I went a bit fast. I'm going to repeat. Case number one. Cooked bread. So that's like the first case of the Gemara. If you cook bread, you still say המוציא and ברכת המזון if you have at least one piece which is kazait. We have to see. Chalko, maybe more because you cook it and you bake it, whatever. It might be different. Just take bread, you throw it into a pot. If the pieces are crumbled, but you've got one piece which is kazait, it's going to be המוציא ברכת המזון. You don't need all of them to be. Once you say המוציא on one, it covers everything else. Okay?
It makes no difference if you throw it into boiling water with that plenty of sugar and now it becomes very sweet.
We'll see. We're going to talk about it soon.
It makes a difference.
But if the pieces are less than kazait, even if it looks like bread, because it's been cooked, that's it. If it looks like bread, it's mezonot על המחיה. And Meshabura with the Shif Katan Nun Zayin says, even if you cover Seuda on pieces of cooked bread, you took bread, you cook it, it's crushed now, and you make a Seuda out of it, you don't say המוציא and ברכת המזון, even if a huge amount, because it's tabshil mezonot. When you cook bread, it's downgraded all the way down to become a porridge. It's not anymore pat. It's not pat anymore.
You've broken it down to the wheat.
And it's cooked. And the kazait, and it's cooked. It's losing the whole thing of bread, even if it looks like bread, even if you see the pieces, it doesn't make a difference. The cooking nullifies it, and it's tafshil mezonot. You can eat as much as you want. It's going to be, so basically, if you take kneidlach, for example, it's less, the matzah balls, it's less than kazait. I'm just giving an example. You cook it, can eat as many as you want. It's going to be always mezonot and ala mechia. Okay, now just to contrast it to something we learned before. We learned in Seif Yod, before the holidays, we learned in Seif Yod Gimel that there's a dispute regarding dough that you cook. Sufgenin. Yes, you've got dough that you cook, whether it's considered tafshil mezonot. Cooked or fried, no difference. Cooked or fried. Yeah, or cooked. We said it's a machloket. The first Seif Shulchan Aruch, so first opinion says it's called tafshil mezonot, and therefore, because the question if it's the bread tafshil mezonot. So Shulchan Aruch wrote over there two opinions, and he says Yerei Shamayim should be machmir to have it in a meal, with real bread, because it's not sure whether it's losing its status of whether maybe it's still bread, but it's cooked over there. So why here when you cook we say it's completely gone, and over there you cook it and it's ready she'ela if it's it could be Yerei Shamayim to be machmir. It doesn't say here Yerei Shamayim has to be machmir on those matzah balls, and over there it says it to be machmir.
Let's talk about the wasn't bread here. Okay, about the sides.
Oh, very good. So you have to say.
Yes, the sides.
If it's bread and you cook it, then you spoil the bread. If it's dough that you cook, you make it into bread.
Okay, so it goes like if it's dough and you cook it.
Dough and you cook it, you make it into bread.
No, why? It doesn't make it.
It's not like bread that you cook. It's
I tell you, I hear you Svara, but I tell you something. So I tell you, so just to explain, so to make it clear there's no contradiction, the better there are two contradictions, depends which opinion you go with. If you go into opinion over there, the Yerei Shamayim has to be machmir over there to have it during the meal, and here we say you can eat it, no problem. Obviously, there we're talking about the dough is a kazait. If it's a kazait with bread, also it's a motzei bekat Amazon. Over there, because it's dough was never bread, it's dough that you cooked. I'm not sure if it's ever became bread, or maybe it did become bread, therefore Yiras Shamayim should have it in a meal. But it's kazait, if it's less than kazait, kal vachomer. If here less than the kazait is not a problem, kal vachomer over there is not a problem. So it's the opposite of your svara. On the other hand, we learned here that Shulchan Aruch says that if it is kazait, for sure you have to wash. Over there, we see if it's kazait, for sure you have to wash. Over there, it's only Yiras Shamayim has to have it in a meal. Otherwise, other opinions tell you donut, whatever. It's for sure it's not. There's no question. So what's the difference?
I'm less than anxiety over there.
So what's a chiluk? No, if it is a kazait,
Oh, if it is,
here it's for sure motzi, and over there it's debatable. Why?
it's less than anxiety.
No, if it is a kazait, over there we say first opinion says for sure mezonot, and the second opinion says no, Yiras Shamayim should be machmir. And here, if the pieces of bread that you cook are
Because there it's a
kazait, you for sure have to say motzi.
there it's a safek if it ever becomes
Oh,
part. Here
that-
it was part.
bediuk. It works here, so that's right. So that's just to get the concept.
Change your mind.
Yeah, very good. Well done.
No, yeah. Before you would. I was saying there is a safek with it.
Trying to find the opposites of our just before.
No,
No.
that's exactly similar.
Before you were saying.
No, I was saying there, by donut, it's a safek if it ever becomes part or not. So therefore, the Yiras Shamayim has to have it.
No, tell you at the stage of the question, I was confusing you because I said, I tell you what it is.
The opposite way now.
Yeah. No, I tell you why, because at the stage of the question, I confused you.
Yeah.
I said here, it says, if the pieces are less than kazait, yeah, it's for sure mezonot.
Yeah.
And over there, it says you have to be machmir. No, because the answer is over there was kazait.
Yeah.
If there was less than kazait, it's kal vachomer. So that's just, no, I confused you just to get.
We need a chart. Need a chart.
Okay, there's a chart coming.
The next time we get before.
Okay.
It's very hard.
Are you clear here? Stage one. Okay, let's make.
Clear.
Okay, I'll make it very clear. I don't mind. I don't want to carry on unless you're all clear. If you've got bread that you cook, if the pieces are kazait, it's amotzi.
Okay.
If it's not kazait, it's mezonot. Nothing to debate.
Wow.
It depends how you cook.
Out of interest.
No, why?
No,
Why?
bread and you cook it.
Bread by itself or bread in the product? In one.
Okay, no, you're right. Let's take it step by step. The fact that you cooked your bread, if it's kazait, it's going to be hamotzi. If it's less than kazait, because you cooked it,
Okay.
it becomes all the way down to tafshil mezonot. It's nothing.
Clear, no?
Clear?
Yeah.
This is simple. Next case, if you have breadcrumbs, and you combine them with honey. So you didn't cook it, you just glued it with honey,
Or egg or whatever.
or any liquids, or egg, whatever. That's chavitza. Chavitza, not chavita, chavitza. And what's the bracha for it?
I don't know. I don't know.
Please say mezonot. Kazait, how much?
We
said-
How much? Mezonot.
If it looks like bread or not.
ואם אינו מבושל, ואם אינו מבושל, אלא שהוא מחובר על ידי דבש או מרק, אם יש בפרוסות כזית, it's המוציא, even if it doesn't look like bread,
If you make.
and if it does not have kazait, then depends if it looks like bread or not. That's the last shita in the Gemara. Rava was he said that. Okay, so I'm just saying, so let's just say it in simple words. You take breadcrumbs, less than kazait, you glue it together. If it still looks like bread, you can see it's bits of bread, so you glue it together. If it's recognizable as a bread, you can see you took bread and you just glued it with honey. It's amotzi. Doesn't make a difference. The fact that you glued it, if the crumbs were separate, you'd say amotzi. The fact that you join them with honey, it's still amotzi. It doesn't make a difference. But if they don't resemble bread, then we say depends. If the pieces are kazait, even if it doesn't look like bread, the pieces kazait, you have to say amotzi. If it's less than kazait,
Like
the pieces.
a bowl of crumbs.
Yeah, so if it's just crumbs, then it's gonna be mezonot. But if it's big piece of bread that you glue together, even if you can't tell there's bread, but you know that you've got kazait over there, it's gonna be amotzi. Okay, that's D number 2. I'll summarize in a moment. There's a little chart, a cute chart here. Bread crumbs, as it is, amotzi without any doubt. Yeah, you can grind it extra fine, even less than kazait, and it doesn't look like bread, it looks like flour. You're gonna say amotzi. Why? The Beit Yosef explains. You can read the Beit Yosef inside. The Beit Yosef in a note, you can see note number 27. Beit Yosef explains והחילוק השלישי הוא מסברה. The third case of the Shulchan Aruch is a סברה. דגן שהוא פת בלי תערובת, שום משקה. If it's bread שזה mixed with anything, אינו יוצא מתורת לחם. He never loses status of לחם. Why? דעת כאן לא אמר רבא דבאילני כזה לא תורת ודנאמה. When did Rava say there is only a motif in looks like bread? is אלא בחביצה שהפירורים מעורבים עם משקה. Since the crumbs are mixed with other things, then it has to look like bread to be bread. אבל איך שהפירורים לבדם crumbs by themselves בלי שום דבר וזה any mixture, אבל בשהפירורים דקים ביותר, even if it's extremely fine, לעולם שם לחם עליהם it's all is bread, יישא המוציא ברכת המזון if you take a bite of it.
So basically, the breadcrumbs that they sell in the mart, the bag.
There's bread.
בפשטות, yes, we'll see. Okay, we'll see.
No,
You
because
don't
that
take-
spoon, if you take a spoon and eat that, it's
You're
putting it together. No.
Where will we come to that?
Crunchy.
Crunchy.
Crunchy cheese?
Okay, so I've got a chart here. I don't know if you'll see, it doesn't matter, I'll just show you. So it's like this, I don't know if you can read, but it doesn't matter. If you've got bread pieces which were cooked, bread pieces cooked, what's the din? So if one piece is kazait, it's considered bread. But if all the pieces are less than kazait, it's tafshil mezonot, even if it looks like bread. Second case was bread pieces which combined with honey. If you've got a piece which is kazait, it's bread.
Sorry, and all this doesn't matter whether you put sweet things and raisins and whatever.
As it says, bread pieces combined with honey. With honey.
Bread pudding.
No, I didn't see you cook it. Bread and you stick it with honey. Let's just talk about these cases. Bread and you stick with honey. If you've got kazait, it's amotzi. And if it's less than kazait, then depends if it looks like bread. If the bread is recognizable, it's amotzi. If not, it's tafshin mezonot. And a third case, that's chavitza. And a bread which was finely crushed, then if you've got finely, if it's kazait, no, it's always bread. No difference. If it's small or big, it's always bread. That's it, simple. Summarize what we learned so far. Now we're going to talk about practical. All this is the rules from the Gemara. Now we're going to go through practical applications. Very interesting. So let's go one by one. We already mentioned some of them, but just to yeah. So that's it. Let's start from kneidlach, matzah balls. So how do you make matzah balls? You crush bread or matzah. Yeah, you crush the bread or the matzah. You re-knead it with egg and water. My wife puts fizzy water. They become much more fluffy. They become much more light. Yeah, that's the secret. No, you get fizzy water, sparkling water. They become much more fluffy. Okay, Perrier for sure. Okay, so if it's okay, so now we know that the crumbs before you did anything to them, they were hamotzi. Very good. When the crumbs are combined with water, let's go in stages. Before you mix those crumbs, before you cooked it, you prepare the dough, the thing at the bowl. You want to taste it. What with water, oil, whatever. You want to eat it as it is, will be bracha.
It depends if it's not.
Oh, now it depends if it looks like bread or not. Okay, matzah balls don't look like bread at all. No, it's so fine.
Actually, you get bread and you go like that. And
No.
it doesn't get massive.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I think if you crumble it, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so there are two things. So matzah ball is the easiest to be mezonot for two reasons. First of all, yeah, it's crumbs that doesn't look like bread. Okay, that's number one. And number two, once you cook it in water, we said bread you cook in water, it doesn't have a kazait. It's again, even if it does look like bread, it's mezonot. So there's no shela at all. It's for sure. And even with the matzah ball now, the huge one, which are kazait, it doesn't make a difference how big they come out. Yeah, they always. It's not that one entity. It didn't remake a bread. No,
Is tafshil mezonot or it's
it's tafshil mezonot. No, it's tafshil mezonot. You've cooked it.
You're gonna have plenty of matzah.
Chavitza also, no, chavitza is not to be it can be just stuck with honey. It's also called chavitza. But chavitza is also tafshil mezonot. Chavitza also, you can eat as much as you want of it. It's also tafshil mezonot. It doesn't make a difference. Yes, so that's mishabra sif katan nuntet. You're right. So it's you finely grind bread. And you mix the breadcrumbs with water and fat or whatever, and then you cook the dough. That's the matzah balls. Then it's considered tafshil mezonot, even if it's greater than kazait.
It doesn't matter how much food you want.
It doesn't make, yeah. So Shulchan Aruch Harav writes, you got it in the notes, the Baratanya, he writes, V'lo amru shekazait 28. V'lo amru shekazait lechem afui We never said kazait of bread which is baked. אינו מתבטל בתורת לחם מבישול. Once you cook it, it's still bread. If it's kazait, אפילו אין בו תורה לחם, even if it doesn't look like bread. Do you remember we said if you take a bread, you cook it. If it's a bread, even if it doesn't look like bread anymore, but if it's kazait, it's just cooked as it is. It stays amotzi. We said that's the first case. But that's only because if the original slice of bread you cook, it's still a kazait, then it's going to be amotzi even if it doesn't look like bread. If you crumble it, you make a new dough out of it, and you make it into a kazait now, it's for sure going to be mezonot. Okay, so matzah ball is simple. Let's move on to the next one, matzah brai. Matzah brai. So matzah brai is made by crushing matzah into small pieces, adding eggs and water, and frying it in a pan. Okay, bueno. Okay, you want to watch a video of it?
Yes.
One second. Find it here. Oh no.
Welcome to today's edition of Daytime.
It's actually fascinating. There's a video here, but not this. 1 second. So the tortilla we already saw. I'll give you the video 1 second. Okay, I'll just find the place 1 second. There's a few videos to show tonight. Oh, you know, maybe I'll share screen 1 second. For the people on Zoom, let me do share screen 1 second. Okay, turn off the light, then you can see. Okay, so matzah brai. It's a short one. There's a few short videos. Hope you can see. Wait a minute.
Eggs, salt, and pepper.
You missed out the chicken.
Scarborough makes it where me at the
Okay, so that's matzah brai. What do you think? I don't know. That's what they say. I don't know. I never had matzah brai.
It's not equal like a zai.
Okay, so let me just do stop share a second.
Is there no mezonot? Switch on.
Ah, stop share. Okay, here we are. Can you turn the light? Okay, so this was matzah brai. So what's a bracha for matzah brai? So it's crushed matzah. When you crush the matzah, is that amotzi?
Yeah.
There's good stages. You make it small pieces. Each piece is less than kazait, obviously, because on the seder for kazait you eat 1.5 matzah or whatever. Yeah. So if you crush it, it's definitely not kazait anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, mix with eggs before you cook it. You mix with the eggs. Is still amotzi? Yeah. Okay. The matzah balls also called matzah. Matzah balls. Question: what does brai mean? What does brai mean? Anybody knows what brai means? I'm laughing. What does brai mean? I have no idea what brai means. Okay, anyway, so
Right property.
all right, so the matzah brai. Okay, so again, you stick the stage. Let's go. Let's work together. You take the matzah brai, you stick it with a whatever egg or whatever it is. You want to eat it like this. Is it amotzi or not? Of course, amotzi. You can still see the bread. It's nikar.
Yeah.
You can still see the matzah.
Yeah, but
You said if it's nikar, even if it's less than kazait, it's going to be amotzi.
Yes.
You can tell.
But once you cook it,
1 second. So
Sorry, I'm talking about when you cook.
I'm going stages.
Sorry.
You crumble it, it's mezonot. You mix it with the ingredients, it's still no sorry. The crumbs are amotzi. You mix it with egg, it's still amotzi because you can see it's matzah. Why is the way? You can see the bread. The question is if frying is like cooking. That's a shela. Oh, that's a shela. So frying is like cooking or not?
Yeah, you're cooking it.
Because we said if you cook the bread and it's less than kazait, we said it becomes mezonot. So the question is frying.
it's kal v'chomer.
It depends. It's a deep fry or shallow.
You say matzah brai, you say mezonot on Pesach.
They don't make a difference in deep fry.
So the Rama in Sefer Dalet writes. The Rama in Sefer Dalet writes.
Vámonos.
Vámonos. the Rama writes, it's a long one. I'm just find the right place. Wait, Rama. Yudalet, sorry. Rama says Yudalet.
היינו, וכן דבר שבליל...
Umeat mashke. No, it's like towards the middle, towards the end, the last few lines. Moshe, me'at mashke shemoshchim bo oil pas. The bit of liquid, oil, they put it on the pan, shelo yitzaref ha'isa, they should not burn. Lo mikre mashke. So it's quite clear in the Rama, if you put a bit of oil to stop it from sticking in the pot, then it's baking, it's not cooking. It's like taking your matzah, putting in the oven. Okay, and therefore it remains hamotzi.
No, by the video you put also eggs on top.
Oh, one second. So if matzah brai remains hamotzi, why? Because
No, but you put the eggs on top.
okay, we'll talk about the eggs in a moment. Okay, so it depends how much oil you put. Oh, so if you put a bit of oil, let's work like it gradually. If you just put a bit of oil just to avoid sticking, like the video, then it remains hamotzi.
No, the video put a lot of eggs.
Now,
It doesn't
yeah, because it's like matzah crumbs. It's like a chavitza, which didn't change Torah tapat. You can see the bread, and you didn't cook it. You just put oil for non-sticking purposes. Now, Mishabura writes in Sif Katan Nun Vav, a machloket if you have a nice amount of oil, not deep fried, shallow fry. But it's at three levels. You've got a bit of oil not to stick. You've got shallow fry and deep fry. There's a machloket about shallow fry if it's considered cooking or baking. And Mishabura writes because it's a machloket, such a kind of matzah brai should only be eaten inside during a meal. Yeah, that's Mishabura Sif Katan Nun Vav. He talks about a bit of oil. He writes, Tignam b'mashke machavat. Maganavam says it's no bishul, and therefore if it's toar alechem, it could be hamotzi. Some achronim disagree. Therefore, va'anachon shatigun lo yachal. If it looks like toar alechem, if it looks like bread, don't eat it. Only during the meal. That's if it's less than kazait. If it's kazait, then if the matzah brai got made from kazait of matzot, then for sure it's going to be hamotzi.
You said toar lechem.
You what?
Yeah, for sure. It should be like
The whole matzah.
the whole matzah.
Or a fina.
Yeah. Yes, so then it's hamotzi. Okay.
So normally you
Yeah, exactly. If you want to have it as a snack or whatever, it becomes a shela. Okay, so again, so if it's shallow fry, then it becomes a shela. Now the Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, you've got it in your notes. He passed on the matzah brai in a frying pan. It's hamotzi. Therefore, you should not need to drink the meal, even if you do with oil, but it's only during the meal. And Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach explained because this is only talking about shallow fry. But deep fry, if you deep fry, which Gibraltarians love to deep fry, I don't know.
Now it's air fry.
Air fry, okay. So deep fry.
Air fry, hamotzi.
No, air fry is less than shallow, exactly.
So if you look in note 29, it talks about this matzah brai. Yeah. So he says if it's me'at shemen and it looks like bread, machamrim only during a Seuda kasafek bracha. Ulam im. Oh no. So before you carry reading, he writes in a note in the bottom that the second column in the note, im tigna beribui shemen. If you're doing deep fry, a lot of oil, then dinoki bishul gamur, it's bishul gamur. And then when it's bishul gamur, we said it depends if the piece is kazait or not. But generally, matzah brai is less than kazait. So if it's deep fried, then for sure it's going to be no difference cooking in water or in oil. Therefore, it's going to be mezonot. The safek of the Mishabura is only because it's not so much oil. Okay. Now the Rav Shlomo Zalman adds on top, ulam imir ticham, a solution. If you want to say mezonot for your matzah brai, you're going for chalamod outing, and you don't have to say hamotzi, you're eating out, and you want to take your matzah brai with, the solution is imir ticham tchila b'mayim. You first boil them in water, deep water, or deep fry. If you don't, you're in a diet, whatever, after all the meat of Pesach. Yeah, so you cook it in water first, even for a short amount of time, and then it becomes mezonot. So he writes over there, Kol shmachtir b'mayim b'kli rishon Yeah, he says in Kli Rishon al Esh on the fire, Afil is man what? Even for a bit of time, he says. Even for a bit of time, kedaka or afil chatzi daka. All you need to cook it is a minute or half a minute. 30 seconds, and then you mix the eggs and you fry it. What? No, we said not last time because real bagel, it's just for bake. Yeah, but it's not cooked at all. I don't know. So we spoke about it. What do you say? It's not cooked. Yeah, but then you bake it in oven here.
Now, what about like in our video is soaked into eggs?
I'll talk about eggs in a moment. Okay. Okay, so that's clear. So, if you cook, if you have more drink, there's more in the freezer. More drink in the freezer. Okay, the good stuff in the cholent, guys. Don't all right. Rama. Okay, sorry. Yeah. Okay, so what was I saying? I lost my. I think it's something else.
Water. You put into water.
Okay, so that's Shemazam. Yeah. So Shemazam Auerbach says, if you matter bright to become mezanot, you cook it in water first. Now, Sephardim, of course, during the year, have much less issues with all these things, so the matzah is amotzi in mezonot anyway. Okay, let's talk about French toast. So, okay, first, how do you call this? It's trivial pursuit. Now to say trivial pursuit. That's in English. Trivial. No, trivial pursuit. When you got this question, there's no. You know what trivial pursuit is? How do you say it in English? Trivial pursuit. Okay, so general knowledge question. I don't know if it's in English. Okay, anyway, how do you say French toast in French? No. How do you say French toast in French? So in Ivrit it's easier. Lechem metugan. Yeah, toasted bread. Lechem metugan. In my house it's called lechem saruf for some reason. I don't know why. It's bread. How do you say French toast in French? No. Just toast. The toast. So French toast in French is pain perdu. Lost bread. Pain perdu. Of course, because you've got bread. No, you've got leftover bread. What are you going to do with it? You make toast. It's a French thing to do, you know?
French toast.
Well, yeah, no. I'm just saying, Sam, it's important to know. You go to France and you say, I want French toast. You won't know what you want. So you have to know, I want lost bread. And then I understand what you're saying. Okay, so French toast is made from large slices of challah or bread. After Shabbat, you've got leftovers. But they have to be very careful. If the challah was on a table, whilst people eating cold cuts and everything, yeah, and they touch the challah, you can't make milky French toast with it, yeah? French toast, the best ones are with milk and all that. You have to be careful. You have to make sure that your challah was parve.
French toast is like coated with sweet stuff.
Yeah.
You soak it in egg and sugar and milk. Milk and sugar, and then you fry it. It's very nice. Now, although the challah is soaked in the egg and fried, and the bracha still remains amotzi. Why? It's bread. When you cook bread, we said it's kazait. Even if it doesn't look like bread, it's kazait. Okay, and therefore, so if you cut the pieces less than kazait to make like little French things, so what do you do? So if it's deep fried, okay, so maybe then it becomes mezonot, whatever. But if it's not deep fried, which is generally the case, no, but who deep fries? You don't deep fry. If it's just shallow fry, then it's a safek. It's a safek of the Mishnah Berurah that we said. Okay, this was the safek of the Mishnah Berurah. If it's not deep fried, is it considered cooked or not? It's a big safek, and you should have it dafka during the meal. So you've got a problem. You can't say amotzi on it because there might be a safek. So you have to have amotzi on another bread. Eat more.
No, but I'm saying that seriously, with deep fried and you have less than a gazette, then for sure.
Yeah.
What do you mean you're okay? The whole point is to want to say how okay.
You're right.
Moshe, who deep fries French toast? I'm sorry, it's not French. That's completely not French. Okay. All right. So let's continue. Okay, so French toast is bakeron generally samotzi, and even if you because usually it's big slices, and if it's small pieces, it's already becoming a safek. So everything during the meal. All right, so cake made from breadcrumbs. Okay, so that's finished. Yeah, we finished with French toast. Next one. If you make cake from breadcrumbs or from matzah meal, on Pesach, you make a Pesach cake. You take matzah meal, if you broke there, or from breadcrumbs during the year. So what the bracha you make, so basically you crush bread, you add sugar, juices, spices, whatever you want to put, you make a batter, and you bake it in the oven. You baked it in the oven. So you took the bread, you mix it with all the things, you bake it in the oven, not cooked, baked. All right? So what do? So if the pieces are less than kazait, and you combine it with oil and all that and sugar,
You mean when you eat it, obviously?
so it's chavitza basically, it's less than kazait. And then we say,
or just one piece that you're gonna eat? Because you said that they won't affect all the other states, like they together.
for what?
No, but you said before that even there's one piece that.
Ah, yeah, if one is kazait, then let's say, okay, let's look in stages, same as before. Let's work it through. You're preparing now a special cake made from bread crumbs or baked pieces or matzah meal. So you mix it with all the ingredients, you prepare the dough. You haven't baked yet. You want to eat it now. Rabbi, how do you say? Isamotzi. If you resemble bread. If you chavitza.
You already put the ingredients.
I put all the ingredients. Yeah. Put the ingredients, but you haven't baked yet. It's chavitza. Chavitza, so it depends if it looks like bread or it doesn't look like bread. Okay, very good. So that we know already. But now the question is, if you take this now and it does not look like bread, and you bake it in the oven, the fact that you bake it, do you make it into a bread or not? That's a shayla. If it still resembles bread after you bake it, then you still. So the Mishabura in Sif Katan Nuntet, it makes okay. So we're getting into more categories and subcategories now. Mishabura Sif Katan Nuntet, it differentiates into 3 different categories of re-kneading bread. If you re-knead the bread, because you took it, you re-knead it and you bake it. You got a bread, you remix it and you re-bake it. So it makes it 3 categories. And you write like this. It says if you add water to the bread, shelesen kazait. So you take bread, you mix it with water, and you rebake it, you re-knead it, right? And it doesn't look like bread anymore. Because when you knead it, it becomes a new dough. So when it's a dough, it doesn't look like bread. And you bake it. What do you think? I repeat. You take bread, you knead it with all liquids and everything. You break it to pieces, and it does not look like bread, and you put it back in the oven. What's the din?
And it becomes looking like a new loaf.
It's amotzi. Still amotzi.
That's because
It never lost the stage of amotzi, because we said that bread that you soak in water, even if it's less than kazait, yeah, but if you just it's still amotzi, it doesn't make a difference. Now, if you rebake it, you haven't cooked it, you baked it. Therefore, it's still amotzi and bekat Amazon even if it doesn't look like bread. Yeah, what was the first category of things we had before? Remember the first category? First category is bread pieces which were cooked. Even
Bigger than
bread is empty.
what? Okay, no, sorry. If it's less than kazait, we said it's tafshir mezonot. Even if it resembles bread. Okay, but if you didn't cook it, if you just mix it in water, it's still going to be amotzi. Okay, so he said, therefore, if you take, like Mesot says, you put it back in the oven, it's still amotzi. If it's just water. But if you but if you mix it with other ingredients, so again, you take your bread, you knead it with oil, egg, whatever, and then you put it in the oven. It's not just water. So as Masad said, if you just mix it with water, put it back in the oven, you're remaking your bread. So it doesn't make a difference. But once you mix it with other ingredients, then he says it becomes a safek. I'm not sure. Is that motzi or mezonot? I'm not sure.
Why?
Well,
I mean, it's bread and then you ask the fact
it doesn't look like bread anymore.
when they're losing its.
It doesn't look like bread anymore. And you put it in the oven, he says that you should, it's safek that we should only have it during the meal. But if you put a bit of oil, but if you put a substantial amount of oil and sugar and put it in the oven, then it's pataba bekisnin.
Yeah.
Okay? So let's give example of this. So if you make cake by crushing challah or matzah, it doesn't look like bread anymore. Like on Pesach. You make matzo cake. So if you add lots of additives, sugar, eggs, spices, and all that, then what's the bracha? For sugar, that's third category of mishabura. It's not just a bit of spice. It's not like bread with a bit of spice, a bit of egg. You added a lot. You made a cake out of it. It's for sure mezonot. Why? Because since it's lost the toar lechem, it doesn't look like bread anymore. When it was crushed and it was then baked again, then it's considered pataba bekisnin. Now let's talk about chalak ugel. Chalak ugel, I think you need to watch a video to understand what chalak ugel is. And here it is. Do you mind turning off the lights behind you, Moshe? I want to. I'll share the screen first. Just 1 second. Here we are. Chalak ugel. Never saw chalak ugel. So now you'll see. But one day you'll be zoche to eat it with us.
Piece of challah. You wash them.
No, wait, he's soaking in water. He looks very See? Okay, so a light, please.
Light, please.
Okay, so now.
Thank you. It's always there.
It's bread.
Is for sure it is good. This mezonot.
All right. So let's carry on. So that's chalak ugel. Let's finish. It's getting late. I want to finish with this. Okay. So chalak ugel is made. Okay. So we said you soak bread in water, lots of oil, egg, sugar. Did you show oil on the video? The oil, lots of oil. Eggs and sugar
And raisins.
Just to bake it again. Okay, raisins, sugar, whatever. Okay, yeah, cinnamon. Okay. So the Shulchan Aruch wrote in Seif 5. Shulchan Aruch Seif Yudalef Pashken. Shulchan Aruch said that if you soak a piece of bread, soak piece of bread in water for long enough time, that the water turns white. The bracha of bread is mezonot.
Oh.
Do you know there's something incredible in Masechet Berachot? I have to read you this. So Safot says here, page first in Masechet Berachot, he writes, but a certain rabbi from Metz. His name was
Metz, France.
Yeah, וכן, כשנותנים פירורים במים, אם המים מתלבנים מחמת הפירורים, the water turns white because of the bread, אז לה לטריתא דנאמר. This is a sign that it's lost its צורת of bread. וכן היה רגיל רבנו דוד ממץ. רבנו דוד from Metz, ללבן פירורים במים בלילה, used to put his bread, piece of bread all night, כדי לאוכלן בשחר, to eat in the morning, בלא ברכת המוציא, או לא ברכת המזון. Why? Wait, שלא לאחר, you don't to come late, כדי שיתחזק ראשו ויוכל להגיד הלכה. You want to be able to give a shiur הלכה, and he needed to eat the breakfast. They didn't have Cheerios in those days. So what did they do? He took his bread, he soaked it in water overnight, so it lost the bread of bread to be able to give shiur.
Guys, he did it Leshem Shamayim.
Okay, so anyway, and I must tell you,
Wait a second, he didn't put oil.
nothing.
sugar.
In water it turns white, it's loose surat apat. Now, when you make chalak ugel, you don't soak it for hours or whatever. I don't know how long for it to become white. So it's not the same, okay? You just put in a bit of water like this and you mix it. And therefore, the bracha should apply. So the same halacha that. Huh? Okay, so it depends. If after a piece of challah mixed together, they still look like bread, the bracha is going to be amotzi. If it doesn't look like bread anymore, and the piece is the lechem kazait here, then the bracha depends how much sugar and oil you put.
But wait a second. In the video, there is more than kazait. It's one big.
No, but each piece is lechem kazait, and it doesn't look like bread anymore. So that's what we said, that depends how much sugar oil you put.
Right.
If you put a lot of sugar and oil and everything else, then it's mezonot. If you only put a little bit, then it becomes a safek. If it's just a bit of
they say
flavor.
that before you serve it, you have to cut in small pieces.
No, what's got to do with cutting into small pieces?
No, before you make it, yeah, it's right.
Before you make it?
Yeah.
Ah, yeah, usually.
Yeah, but that's what it was doing.
So for your challah kugel to be mezonot, if you soak it into fruit juices and stuff like that, no water, you soak it actually in fruit juice lechatchila or oil, then it for sure tastes like a cake, whatever, then it's for sure going to be mezonot.
Yeah, it's more like that.
What?
Even if it's more like
No, it has to be less than a kazait.
Well, you put fruit juice. No, because I know small piece. One second, you're soaking in fruit juice.
Yeah, if I soak something in fruit juice and it's kazait,
Then it's the same as the torika.
sorry, it's same as that?
French toast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's still bread. All right.
What about the bread croutons?
Okay, I'm going to talk about this now. So can we go quickly? Breadcrumbs and croutons. Let's do quickly. Do you know how you make breadcrumbs?
Is it toasted? Bread.
You toast it and you grind it.
Toast it and grind it.
Breadcrumbs. I'll show you how you make breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs you make like this. Okay.
Like Moshe.
Yo.
He's here.
Water, yeast, salt, and sugar. Diluted gently in a blender to an exact.
So Bakshi is buying 1 second.
Go.
Dividing a dough with superior strength and texture.
Well, look at that.
The bread is fully cooked and delicious right out of the oven. Bread is ground using a proprietary screen,
Well,
which
that's already
creates
bread.
large liver-shaped crumbs. The crumb is quickly toasted in a high heat. oven
Retoast it.
to make
I
a
didn't know
light,
that.
airy crumb with a low percentage of fines and a delicate, crispy texture. The finished crumb is packed and ready for customers.
That's great. No, that's it. I understand. What is great.
Yes, that's I use it for schnitzel and.
So what you doing? So what you doing, Schnitzel?
Oh, that's a shela.
Mizonot.
Yes. The main part is the thing. What bracha you make on breadcrumbs? Benisma. Okay, so let's see. Let's finish with this. So 1 second, I'll you exit this thingy.
It's gay.
Yeah, we're going a bit over time today, but we started a bit late. Okay, so here. Breadcrumbs. So breadcrumbs we said tzamotzi, right? Now breadcrumbs, as we said, and the market today is made by grinding it and quickly placing it back in the oven, like we saw in the video above. So why don't we say amotzi on schnitzel? That's a big shela. Why don't we say amotzi on schnitzel?
Because they are bread.
Any reason? There are breadcrumbs. You see bread on the schnitzel.
Is not the crunch.
What?
The
So it depends. Okay, so that's ready. Let's see. The explanation depends how you make your schnitzel. If the schnitzel is fried, then we assume that the breadcrumbs are fully submerged in the oil when you fry it,
Yeah.
and therefore they are considered cooked,
And therefore it's Mizonot.
and that it's cooked. And since the piece is less than kazait, it's not bread. Okay.
You say
And
Mizonot.
and okay. What happens if you make your schnitzel in the oven? Some people are a very diet thingy, and they don't do schnitzel in oil. They make it in the oven.
So you prepare
But
the
breadcrumbs,
put it in the oven.
You put in the oven. So the Kinyan Torah in number 30, you will see they still mezonot. Why?
There's enough moisture on the chicken.
It says because the small pieces are joined together. Because if first you dip your schnitzel into egg, yeah, and then because it's egg soaked, and then you put it in the thingy, then it becomes like the second case of the Shulchan Aruch, the chavitza, where the small piece of bread, less than kazais, are combined with honey. That's the same thing is combined with the egg, and therefore, since the breadcrumbs are mixed with egg and less than kazait, and it doesn't look like bread, that's the main thing, that they look like bread, then it's mezonot. So schnitzel are mezonot.
Really?
You know the cheese stick in the Milky restaurant in Mizonot.
Schnitzel for body is Mizonot?
Thin battered.
No, it's crunchy.
Okay, so
According to Rabbi,
okay, so let me just tell you something now. Okay, let me tell you something now. Just one thing I forgot to say. You asked me a question before, and I can't remember. One time there. Oh, here. Okay, remind me to tell you something at the end. I forgot to say something. You asked me a question before, I forgot to answer you.
But you answered.
But no, another question asked me at the beginning. I forgot to answer you. You asked me about the egg. Okay, anyway, so let me tell you. So it's a bit surprising, yeah. Everybody says mezonot and schnitzel.
Everyone here.
Mezonot and schnitzel? Shakol, yeah. So let me tell you, it's a big debate in the poskim. So he doesn't talk about it. He says mezonot here, but it's not that simple. So he writes like this. He writes in Sefer Mezonot HaBracha. I'm going to start with Sephardi opinion. Rabbi Tzion Abba Shaul. Rabbi Tzion Abba Shaul says, if the purpose of the breadcrumbs is to give flavor or to satisfy you, it's mezonot. Therefore, most schnitzel are going to be mezonot. That's Rabbi Tzion Abba Shaul. However, Mordechai Eliyahu says it's always shakol because it's just to stick it, whatever the flour, just to stick the thing on it. That's what he means. Kut Yosef also says it's always shakol. However, let me just say that's what they were. So you got machloket among Sephardim, but the Ashkenazim, the poskim here, Moshe Feinstein, and all that. He says depends how much you put, how thick you make your breadcrumbs on it. Yeah. So if it's very thin, it's just for flavor, then it's shakol. And if it's thick, it could become a mezonot. The solution, he says here, if it's thick, you don't know, then you make mezonot something else. And then, on the way, and then you have to do schnitzel. The other option is to separate. You separate the meat, the schnitzel, or the fish from inside.
Both better.
Doesn't have to be. What you can do, you take the inside, the meat, the chicken, the whatever it is, separate. The bread separate. You say mezonot on the bread, no, on the schnitzel bit. Yeah. But even Sephardim can do that, by the way. If you separate it, so you say mezonot on the layer of thingy, and you have kavana also to be motzi the schnitzel in case the schnitzel is tafel to the motzi. And then when you eat the schnitzel by itself, it's a shakol, and then you covered everything. Wow. This is the solution. Okay. No, it's only motzi if it's eaten together. Once it's separated, then it's not part of the meat anymore. You have a separate chiyuv. Because you've separated the meat, you have a separate chiyuv.
And you say Kut Yosef doesn't differentiate the shakol.
You don't see it. I don't know. That's a smash. I have to check properly.
Yeah.
Should we do the croutons or you want to stop here?
I don't know if I can handle anymore.
I'm full.
Okay, the yellow awesome croutons. I think we can do this in 2 minutes. The yellow is just differentiate the three kind of croutons. So you've got the yellow awesome croutons. Okay. Yeah. How do you make the croutons? You know how they make it?
Don't want to know.
The dough is made from flour and oil. I didn't know that. So it's flour and water. Flour and oil. The bracha is mezonot. Because it's tafshil mezonot. It's deep fried. Tafshil mezonot. Though a God-fearing person might want to see it as pataba bekisnin, not tafshil mezonot. Because he said, even if you fry something, it's pataba bekisnin, not mezonot. That's one thing. Okay. The next croutons are the salad croutons.
Ready.
Yeah, they're called salad croutons. They're like a bit of bread. So these croutons, which are usually sold at small salad croutons, is also tafshil mezonot because it's deep fried again. Yeah, it's deep fried. It makes it tafshil mezonot. But if it's fried with a minimum, I don't know how to do it. But if it's deep fried, it's tafshil mezonot. If it's shallow fried, then you've got a safek of mishabura, which you have to put it in the. It's a safek. You have to eat during the meal. So if your wife wants to make these things at home, and she shallow fries it, it could be a problem. Yeah. Yeah, it's like breadcrumbs. And the third type of croutons, which is usually homemade or they make them in a restaurant and stuff like that, it's baked bread that you cut into small pieces. Yeah. You put spice on it and you put it in the oven. Yeah, not fried. You just put it back in the oven.
And that's the motzi.
That's for sure motzi, even if it's less than kazait. It's like breadcrumbs that go in the oven. However, let me tell you a leniency for those people who struggle with this. The Piskei Teshuvot brings some poskim who say that it's going to be mezonot because when you bake it, is the intent to eat it more like you put lots of spice. It's a bit like the frozen pizza that we spoke about, that some people say that even the dough first, but it's meant to be eaten as a snack. We have some svarot like this. So tortilla also with this Rav Rubin, tortilla, we spoke about it last time because it's made to be eaten as a snack, therefore it changed. But yeah, so but I must say, if you make this homemade croutons at home, it's a big suffix in a scheme. So just one thing: if you put it in a soup, what's it in? It's cooked now.
You can't film.
No, it's cooked.
So if it's on a fire or in kli rishon when it's yad soledet bo, then the bread has been cooked. Yeah. Then you said even 30 seconds is cooked. Then it becomes mezonot.
Yeah, but Shabbat
Exactly. Yeah.
But then
No, but if one second.
You can't bake it.
If you cook it, yeah, bread. Say bread that you cook, it becomes mezonot if it's less than kazait. So what's going to be cooked? If the soup is on a fire or kli rishon, we can serve the challenge ready. Then it's cooked. But if it's kli sheni, it doesn't get cooked. Then it's going to remain amotzi. Okay. But if you keep in a soup, the time it takes to whiten and it becomes really, really soggy, then yeah, like the taste first. But that's not the case. Okay, Chazagabo. Pita chips I'm going to leave for next time. Chazagabo.
The mozzarella fresca. The sticky mozzarella, fried mozzarella.
I had the mozzarella from David. No, I had in Argentina really good stuff. That was really good.
Moshe, where you going? Coming. Okay, good night. Thank you.
Sí, claro, students. Otra gato. Perfecto.
You're so
Thank
well.
you, thank you. Thank you.
Is everyone gone already? Is that it?
I think
How many
that's it,
Bayles?
that's it, Rabbi.
How many Bayles?
That's it.
Okay.
Will you show?
Nice, very nice. Thank you.
Good. Shines in the mountains. Yeah.
And I was with my father for Zayn.
The same area. Yeah. You went to Val Claret, the other.
Very nice. This guy who's cousin.
We went on a chairlift and down hiking. I told investigate walking sticks. Wow. Get to walk down.
Did you make it up and down?
Mhm.
Did you make it?
We'll try it.
Tough walk, no?
Yeah, I didn't realize you needed better shoes. But no, if you go up with the chairlift and you walk, easy.
I did it, but the aching the following day.
Oh, yeah?
I've been on 15 kilometers.
Every day, 15. I do every day 15 kilometers. Yeah, yeah. Up 1,000 meters and down.
Walking up?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I used to be this group, they used to go trekking in Spain. And on Sundays, and amazing. Some really nice places.
Yeah, I love it.
You should reinstate it for the
Yeah, right. We make 5 kilometers.
I used to like walking.
Yeah. I was like fit as